He who is coached will have his potential destroyed. There really is little to no maliciousness or ill intent by any coach, whether it be in business or sports or in life. Life coaching is essentially an oxymoron. But regardless of the fact that there's no ill intent, where there is a lack of understanding, there must be destruction. An illustration may help to make this more clear. Imagine an individual is throwing a baseball, and he is told that he is standing in a room or he is standing on a field, and he is told to throw the baseball as hard as he can into the net. The human being will make a movement. He'll make an action. He will perhaps, from an observer's point of view, have the left leg very far forward and his right arm very far back in order to create the greatest amount of leverage to throw that baseball as fast as he can into the net with as much power and speed as he can. Very well. What coaching does, what the coaching societies, the entire industry, because they are not based in truth, they are based in form, they are based in cosmetics. What they will do is that they will watch this individual and they will say, okay, we're going to teach others now how to throw as hard and fast as him. So what we will do is, okay, we will get a player and, well, we will watch the original player first to see how he did it, and we will take videos. And then we will capture angles. We will capture the angle of his arm, the angle of his front knee, the length of his stride. Then what they will do is they'll say, okay, we have noticed that the best players, when they pitch, when they throw a fastball, when they throw something hard and fast, their right arm will be at this degrees. The right elbow will have an X degree bend in it. Their left leg will be this many inches past their right leg. Their left knee will have this kind of bend in it. And they will contort the individual. They will make him adhere to the form which is reminiscent of all of the great players. They will tell him, you do that too. This is very typical. This is par for the course. This is typical of human beings. And it doesn't matter if a human being becomes a coach or he becomes a construction worker or whatever he becomes, the human being is still a human being. And since all human beings, virtually all human beings, do not have a basis in truth, they do not seek truth. They go to school and they get a certificate, and then they practice the things that they were taught in school in the real world because they think that's real. And if you examine the number of people who become successful in anything, it is extraordinarily small. It is less than 1%. That by itself demonstrates the complete inefficacy of coaching and essentially topples the entire industry on its ear. So they will tell the individual to copy the form. And they may even be so generous as to give a range. That so your elbow does not have to be at X degrees. We have noticed the best players can be between X and Y degrees. So you have some playroom there. So you feel free to use your own ingenuity to make it 30 degrees instead of 37 degrees, if you wish. And they call that coaching. The problem is that when the individual assumes that posture, when the individual has the right arm at the correct range of degrees and the left knee at the correct range of degrees, well, the ball doesn't go fast. And they begin to wonder, well, why is that? Well, the ball never went fast because of the arm and the leg. If someone simply, this is an example, if someone just simply stands there, raises their right arm for the appropriate degree, and then bends their left knee, and there's nothing inside of them, there's no muscular contraction, there's no flexing, there's no intent, he's just a scarecrow, he's a statue who looks perfect on video, who looks perfect on the instruction screens. But there's no relevance there. Now, if you take this to varying degrees and in various forms, this is what is called coaching. Coaching is cosmetics and form. Coaching is taking the so-called best players and then creating an average out of them and making others adhere to what they do. The interesting thing is if one reads a book by a great player in sports, for instance, and says, I did this and I did that, And then the individual who reads the book goes and copies that. He never gets the results. Well, if he did, then everybody would be Tiger Woods. Everybody would be a Roger Federer by reading a book. So that never happens. And the reason it doesn't happen is because, interestingly, what the individual thinks he does is not what he actually does. He is describing his feels. And he may say that I do this, but in actuality, he does something else. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. He can say whatever he wants to say because at the end of the day, he isn't reading his own book. He isn't suffering. The person who suffers is the one who reads his book, because the one who reads his book will say, well, he's a great player and he said that he does this. Well, he's not stupid. And therefore, if it's, as the coaches will always say, well, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for you. So you should go do that. And this is the level of intelligence. This is the level of logic. This is the level of depth of knowledge or lack thereof that these people have. It isn't that they're not capable of intelligence. They are. But this is a nepotistic society. Form and cosmetics is the order of the day in everything. If you want to achieve peace, let's say, and the meditation instructor will come by. The whole gang will come and say, okay, well, if you want to achieve peace, then you have to meditate. And let me show you how to meditate. You sit down in a half lotus, and then what you do is this, and then you put your ring and your index and your thumb together, and you say Om, and that creates a vibration, and then you watch your breath, and then you watch your thoughts, and you do this for X number of, okay. Once again, there's nothing inside. These are all like oranges in which just the shell of the orange is there, and when you open it up, nothing's inside. This is what coaching is. Therefore, the individual coaching actually, no one should be excited to coach because that's an invitation to destruction. The person who's excited to coach has no idea what he's doing, because what he is excited to do is to dump his knowledge upon the individual in the hopes that he can get an ego boost from the individual doing well. Yes, along with the ego boost, I'm sure he genuinely wants the individual to do well, and that's fine. There's no evil there. But in actuality, what should be going on is, and what isn't going on, is the fact that that individual may be the only individual in the world who does things in a completely different manner. And in fact, who do people go to see? Those who are like everybody else, or those who are rare and unusual? But the rare and unusual will be eaten alive by the coaching industry because he will not adhere to the form. His elbow will not bend at the X degrees. It'll be 40 degrees off. Therefore, he'll be a casualty of the coaching world. The truth is, there is no average. And the attempt to look at the so-called best players and then create an average of them and look at their form and write down numbers and angles of their body parts is really beyond, it is beyond idiocy. There's just no words for how a human being, a human organism, can sink so low and to know so little as to demean and insult the potential of a unique human being who has his own fingerprint, who has his own potential way of doing things, who is roboticized. And that's why you see in sports today, in sports, they have devolved in major ways. The money has gone up, but the talent level may have gone up, but the performances, there's parity in everything. And that's because of the nepotism of coaching. Business coaching is the same way. Here's the method by which you should do it. But genius does not prescribe to a method or subscribe to a method. Genius follows no method. In fact, genius doesn't even know how it does it. It comes from some unknown place. And in fact, it is precisely that unknown place that the world is thirsty and hungry to see. No one is really looking to see a well-coached human being besides the coaches. The Olympic coaches, the professional sports coaches, the multi-billion-dollar industry of business coaching and life coaching and executive coaching. That's what it all is. It is essentially coaching form in various shapes and fashions. to show up with a briefcase, and this is what we will do, and this is what we have done in the past, and this is how you should do it. And nothing is really centered around the individual. Everything is centered around, I know something, you do not, therefore let me impart my knowledge to you so that you can get better. And in fact, even the idea of better is one of the holy grails and commandments of coaching. Better is not a place. What does better mean? When you leave your house in the morning and you drive your car, do you drive 1 mile and tomorrow you drive 2 miles? And then next week you drive 4 miles, therefore now you're a better driver because you drove further? What does better mean? It has nothing that the coaching industry says has any meaning. Like everything else, it is just like spirituality. If you practice mindfulness, you'll get that very well. Look for yourself. I mean, millions are practicing mindfulness. Where have they gotten? Everything is a scam. And the reason everything is a scam is that it isn't meant to be an ill intent. But you have to understand where these people are coming from. Where are these people plucked from? They are plucked from society. And what is society composed of? Society is composed of those who do not seek truth. Therefore, if there's a pool of individuals, a pool of people called society, virtually none of whom have devoted their life to truth, maybe one, maybe three, then it is from that pool the coaches are arising. Therefore, by definition, any vocation that these people practice, any organization that they create, any industry that they forge is based upon untruth, because the composition of that society, of that institution, is by those who do not seek truth. Therefore, one should not say that they will not seek coaching. They can seek whatever they want. I am not here to help someone make the right decision. I don't care what anyone does. It's up to them. If one wishes, then they will look into the fact that coaching is virtually guaranteed to destroy their life. It is, and those who succeed with coaching are the same thing as those who succeed with school. They don't succeed because of it. They succeed despite it.